Hello and welcome to the show. Listen, we have a great show planned for you today. Today, I tell you what, I'm excited because this year is all about being intentional. And when I tell you it means being intentional, that means everything that God has purposed for you in your life, that you are to be doing that. You are supposed to ask him about what is it that I want to, what you want me to do, God, and be intentional about getting to that point. But I tell you what, I'm not going to belabor you with that because I love talking about what's happening in our lives. But today on the show, we are blessed to have the wonderful Robin Hailey. That's our guest. And guess what? She's the ACE Award winning nominee. I'm going to say, see, I'm already saying she's winning it, but she's an award nominee for the Best Supporting Actress. And this is the ACE Awards. And so I wanted her to come on and tell us all about it. And so I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy because it's coming up next.
Get ready for a powerful weekend of inspiration and empowerment. The SAFE organization presents the Women and Girls Empowerment Weekend. She leads, she speaks, she inspires. Kick off the weekend with a benefit gospel concert on June 27th at 7 p.m. at Stevenson Auditorium, 979 Middleton Street, Orangeburg, South Carolina, featuring the dynamic Kalante Gavin. With opening artist Tanya Caesar. Then join us for the Empowerment Summit on June 28th at 10 a.m. at Claflin University Student Center, 1801 Magnolia Street, Orangeburg, South Carolina. Be inspired by keynote speaker Lady Sarah Priester as we uplift, educate, and empower women and girls. Vendors and sponsors get involved. Visit www.girlempowermentday.com for more information. She leads, she speaks, she inspires. Don't miss this life-changing event.
The Cecil Williams South Carolina Civil Rights Museum is the Palmetto State's first and only museum. It honors a generation of people, black and white, throughout the state of South Carolina who deserve to be remembered for their unselfish commitments and sacrifices. Enjoy an immersive and entertaining virtual tour. For more information, visit www.cecilwilliams.com.
Hello, everybody. It's Finkley of The Michael Finkley Show, and you're watching Gold right now. Why? You're watching The Tammy Show. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the show. I told you we've got a great show planned for you. You know, when I talk about this guest, she's a dear, dear friend. We've known each other, I know, for, 20 years, maybe longer. And so I want to tell you a little bit about her. She has 3 beautiful grandchildren. You know, she's that devoted grandmother and friend. She's also a chocolatier, which I want her to share with us. But she's an avid fitness guru. She works out all the time and looks fabulous. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to my guest today. It is Robin Hailey. How are you, Robin?
Fantastic. And I'm so happy to be here.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. You know, Robin, you and I have known each other for many, many years. I said maybe 20.
I think it's longer.
I think so too, because Catherine was a little girl.
Yes.
Yes. And your son was also a little boy. So it's great to have you on the show. But you know, one of the things, I know you, but I always ask folks, if somebody walks up to you and say, oh, there's Robin Hailey. Oh my God, there's Robin Hailey. What do you say to them? What do you tell them who Robin is? Who is Robin?
Robin is Robin. She's definitely a people person. She's down to earth. And she's just devoted to the atmosphere of just being a good person, a good friend, and well-rounded person, spiritually as well.
Yeah. And you know, that's wonderful, Robin, because you don't find that with a lot of people. You know, as you know, when we call each other friends, yes, we are friends.
That's right.
I can call on you, you can call on me, and we may not see each other for a little while. Of course, now, folks, we're going to find out about all this acting that she's been doing and how she got to be this nominee. But, I appreciate you so much, and I want to thank you for being my friend. So, having said that, Robin, you're welcome. Now we're going to talk about being this actress. For as long as I've known you, you've always been interested in acting. And what prompted you to really go into acting full time?
I think what did it for me, I did a fashion show, a couple of fashion shows, and I had the opportunity to do like a quick monologue. And I was with Millie Lewis at that time, and it just kind of went from there. And they kind of helped me find my place and what it was that I really was good at, and the things that I tend to gravitate towards. And commercial was one of them. I kind of tried my hand at stage performance. I did like it. The only difference with stage and film, you can't cheat. Stage, you cannot cheat. Film, you can a little. But I think it kind of took off from there, and then one thing led to the next, and I started to pick up gigs, and I was like, oh, I like this. I think I'll do it.
Yeah.
I think this is something I'll be interested in doing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it spun from. And I did take some classes and some other courses to really sharpen my skills, so to speak, so that I can understand exactly what acting is, what's bringing it to realization, where people could stay engaged and say, oh, I like this, or let me fix that, or work on that. But I think for the most part, that kind of what got me started.
Wow.
And working on, excuse me, small films for different directors, up and coming. And that kind of helped me to build my confidence.
Right.
And build a reel. So that I was like, okay, because at first I didn't know what a reel was.
Right.
It was something that kind of showcases a resume, and along with the resume, so just so they can see, can she carry a line? Can she do this? And I was like, I like this. I think I can do this, and it just kind of went from there.
Right. So, what do you find is the hardest part about getting prepared for a role, or challenging? What may be challenging about getting ready?
For me, the most challenging part getting ready for a role is you can't make it your own, or they'll say make it your own. Most directors don't know what they're looking for. They'll cast you because you may have the look, you may have the size, you may even be the right color, but they really don't know. They'll write the script and say, hey, audition for this. And if I book an audition, then okay, can you do this? They'll have you do it different ways, and it goes from there. But most times they don't know what they're looking for. So you have to bring your best.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's really not that easy said than done, because you can be before one person too, or a whole panel. You don't know until you get there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Years ago, I don't know if you remember this, but I know people probably don't know this about me either. I tried out for Charlie's Angels. I was living in Atlanta. This was back in in the 80s. And I think you might remember when they were trying to do the new Charlie's Angels. I had just finished Howard, and I moved to Atlanta, and I saw this thing about trying out. Yeah. And I was chosen out of the last, it had looked like hundreds of people.
Of course.
And I was chosen out of 10 to be the last 10, that last group of 10. But after that, I never heard anything else. But anyway, I was saying that to say, I know what it's like, because, first you're in front of one person, and then all of a sudden you're in front of a lot of people. Tell people what that process looks like when you want to go for an audition. What is it that you really need to be thinking about?
You need to be thinking about the audience. Think about everything is time, when, where, how, and what year it is. So that whole process could be anything from, of course, nervous, because you want to bring your best, and you want to do your best in front of them, and you don't know if you've done that. There are interviews that auditions that I've gone on, and I've given it my best, and in my head I'm thinking I did great, but to them it could be one thing that's off that they don't want. Everything else is fine. It could be my hands, it could be my feet, it could be my smile, it could be my teeth, it could be anything that could totally be a turn off to them.
Wow.
So, and everything else they like, but it could be that one thing. So it's very, it gives me anxiety sometimes because I don't know what they want. I don't know what they're looking for.
Right.
So I always try to keep in mind, go present yourself and sell yourself because you are the product. You're the product and you got to sell yourself as such. Otherwise, it's not believable and no one will want to hire you.
Do you usually get to talk to the directors?
You can sometimes.
Depending on how they are. Yeah.
Depending on, because most of them, don't really want to talk. They just want to see.
They just want to see
what you got, and a lot of them you think is really sitting there, but it's not them. They could just be in a plain old t-shirt, broken jeans or something, or just standing in the back, and you would never know that that's them.
Wow.
Yeah. So sometimes they come in, and sometimes they're behind the scenes just looking through the monitors.
So when we talk about and folks, I'm talking with this is an ACE Award nominee. So when there is somebody who's young that's looking at this interview, what advice would you give them about really trying to go into this business? Because this industry is hard. It can be hard, and it is hard. What would you say to them?
I would say to them, know exactly that this is what you want. Also, don't go into it for the money because you will get disappointed. The money will come. Learn the business part of it. Yes, everybody wants the fame. We want to get on TV. We want to look good, and we want to present ourselves. We want everyone to see us, But if you don't know that business part, it will swallow you. That's so important. Learn the business part. And I always tell them, stay before the cameras. Take classes, as many classes as you possibly can. Always be willing to want to learn because the industry does change. And there is a lot going on. And you have to be careful of where you are and the type of company you're around. You get to choose that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because a lot of people have been swallowed up or, they've been engulfed with a lot of illicit things happening and that type of thing. Because somebody could come up to you and say, hey, I'm a director. I want to hire you to do this. And of course, some young people or just some people in general, oh, yes, I'm an actor, so I would love to do. And then you find out that it's not what you expected it to be. And you may end up in a bad situation. Yeah. How do you avoid that?
You have to use judgment, discernment, because if your gut's telling you it's not, chances are it's not. Don't take the chance because this is a wide open field. The industry is nobody's best friend. They love you while you're making the money. But if you're no longer popular or if you're no longer making the money that they're used to, you kind of get shunned a little. And that's how you know, okay, they only need me because I was doing something for them.
Using you.
Using you.
Wow.
So you have to be careful with that. And yes, I personally know people who have gotten very starstruck. And you can go, a photographer will come up to you and say, hey, you're beautiful. I'd like to photograph you. And you end up with a lot of negativity, things happening to you, what I mean. And nothing comes of it. So you have to be careful. You spend the money to get with a professional.
That's right.
When you're approached by someone, the first thing you should ask them, may I see your credentials? Who have you filmed? Give me some names that you've done work for. That way you know if they cannot produce those things, then they're not legit.
And they're not, that's right.
So you have to be careful. This industry is not a friend.
And it'll swallow you up.
They will swallow you up.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Robin, talking about the ACE, I'm excited for you because you're getting ready to go to the ACE Awards. Talk about that feeling when you saw your name for Best Supporting Actress.
Wow. to this day, I was very, I'm still in awe about it all, because this would be my first huge award. And this is a huge award.
It is.
And they do it every year. So I'm really looking forward to going and listening to the categories and watching everyone else. And then that very moment, you know, that chilling moment, it's going to come like, oh my God, is this really happening? And it is.
Yeah.
So being nominated is an honor, godsend. And I am so appreciative with much gratitude to be among this. And, you know, God, like I always say, if it's for you, it's for you.
Right.
But I'm always in great support of all my colleagues. Even when they post things on my timeline, I'll share it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm always sharing people's
Right,
things. But it's a great moment. You know, it's a wonderful feeling to have someone look at your work and say, I think I want to give her a nomination.
Yeah.
To be a part of this. I like her work. She's, you know, it makes me feel like, okay, I feel like I'm now seeing the work that I've been
You're
putting
being valued.
Yes.
You're being valued.
Yes.
Wow.
And someone actually
He
sees
sees
it. Yeah.
Yeah, they see you. They
Mhm.
see your work.
They see my
Wow.
work.
So, you know, Robin, speaking of that, you have brought, you've brought a clip for us. And so I want everybody to see the clip. So, Willie, let's roll it.
I believe there's hope for your marriage. I recommend you attending a marriage rehabilitation program for 90 days before finalizing your divorce.
You ready for this?
You might want to keep your husband close. She looks like a hoe. Why? After all we've been through?
I'm tired of being something that I'm not.
Now you're here because you recognize that your marriage needs saving. Won't be easy. Marriages face challenges. Saving your marriage is not for only your sake, but for the sake of your families and the commitment you made to each other.
It's about understanding and rediscovering the love that brought you together.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Did you see that, folks? Oh my goodness, Robin. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay. So we're going to take a break, Robin, and we're going to come back. So, folks, I don't want you to go anywhere because you've got to hear what Robin Hailey has to tell us in this next segment. And it's all about being this actress and her dream, just living your dream. So I told you, being intentional and living your dream. We'll be right back.
The Orangeburg County Conference Center supports downtown Orangeburg and our surrounding communities. The 6,000 plus square foot space is ideal for groups of up to 400 people attending corporate meetings, conventions, workshops, and special events. Conference Center staff are inspired to ensure that everyone can enjoy the modern amenities. State-of-the-art ballroom that accommodates up to 400 guests banquet style and 430 guests theater style. A warming kitchen with hot boxes, ice machine, refrigerator, freezer, and counter space. A lobby that accommodates 150 guests with special events outdoors. The comfortable outdoor amphitheater has a video wall and seating. Adjacent to the amphitheater is 12,000 plus square feet of green space that extends events outside, plus complimentary on-site event parking and additional parking across the street. Your event can take place all in one spectacular location. We welcome your special event in Orangeburg.
Hey, you're watching The Tammy Show. And remember to keep it cool with me, AC.
Welcome back to the show. Listen, I told you we have Robin Hailey, the ACE Award nominee for Best Supporting Actress. My friend, Robin Hailey. How are you, Robin? Thank you again for being on the show. We talked about in your introduction that you are a chocolatier. So come on, what is a chocolatier?
A chocolatier is a person or a company that sells gourmet chocolate. It's a distinctiveness about it. And you're creating chocolates from a mold. And it's from the cacao, that is the seed itself. Mm-hmm. And the chocolate is extracted from that. And what we do, I create molds, I hand paint them, and I pour your chocolate, whatever fillings you need, that's what I put in there.
Oh, wow. That's exciting. Chocolatier. So we're going to have some chocolate, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay. That sounds like a plan. Thank you.
It's a
plan. Chocolatier. Robin, as I was sitting here looking at you in that clip, it just reminded me of how passionate you are about your acting, about your craft. And it speaks to the word that I keep saying, being intentional. But one of the things that I always ask people about is your mental health. When you play different characters, you played some dark characters, you played police officer. I can kind of name them. Yeah, and because I followed you. And when you play these different characters, where do you go? What do you have to do to keep yourself, I'm not going to say sane, but to keep yourself mentally grounded?
You have to know when to pull back. There are some places I have gone to, I had to go to a dark place in order to bring that scene to fruition. Most times, a lot of those gestures and those moments come from realization, things that have actually happened to me. Mm-hmm. So I'm able to bring that role out because I'll go there. Mm-hmm. Okay. And it too has to be a natural release when you're doing that. Yeah. Some people never come out of it. Yeah. And a lot of people say, well, I don't understand. It's just acting. No, it's mental, just like you say.
That's right.
They commit suicide. They do a lot of stuff, if I can say that. They go off the deep. So you have to know how to turn it off. And you have to, for me, and how it keeps me from not going down a rabbit hole, I can bring myself out of it, but I have to have that moment to do that after that scene has cut. They always give you that moment to just kind of collect yourself and bring yourself back to you. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Some people aren't able to
do that. And what do you do? What do you do in that time, in that space that you have?
During it?
Yes, during and after. What do you do to bring yourself down?
To bring myself down, once it's done, I'll take a walk. In marriage rehab, there was a lot of emotions for me in that very scene, and there are some other scenes that were not shown. But afterwards, I have, because it was a lake and I'm drawn to water. Right. That's one of my elements. I'll go and I'll sit by the lake and I'll reconnect myself, and that kind of helps me to okay, now you're back here. Now let's get ready for the next scene. Right. So now I have to shut that off and get ready for the next one. That could be laughter, or I'm just sitting there and I'm just looking at someone or giving someone a little crazy look or something. So I have to be able to click, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on. So it's definitely a craft. It's not something taught. You either have it or you don't.
Or you don't, right.
Because the audience will know
Yeah, they'll know.
They'll know what's natural. and what's
Oh
not.
yes, I've seen many, and you can tell.
Yeah.
You really can tell. So, what would you say is your biggest accomplishment?
I would say my biggest accomplishment is being able to book this role as Paula. And people actually like Paula, but they don't like Paula because Paula is messy.
She's real messy.
She's messy, but Paula has a sweet side to her. She's just dealing with a lot, and she's never been able to break the trauma cycle of her life and what has happened to her. And it's okay to share that part because I was raped by my father. So just imagine having to go somewhere dark so I can bring. Yeah. And that's my biological father. And oddly enough, a lot of people don't know how to handle that scene. It's like, when you're watching, looking at the movie, and you're like, you'll hear me say wonderful things about my father. And it confuses the people like, well, did she have a relationship with her father? Or,
right.
It's in your head, you still love your dad.
Right.
You still love him, but he did a heinous thing to you. So now I'm dealing with all that. And then I have to come out of that. And then my mother, on the other hand, really doesn't like me. Oh, yeah. Or she have an issue, a major issue with me. Yeah. Maybe because I was a daddy's girl.
Right. And because she might have known as well. Why did he prefer you over her?
Yeah.
And we see that in real life so many times. Now, this was written by Sharon Davis, and we want to shout out, hey, Sharon! Yes. Congratulations to you, Sharon. And she directed.
She wrote.
Directed. Produced. How about that? That's my kind of girl.
She's amazing.
I love it.
Truly amazing.
I love it.
I met Miss Sharon on one of her first movies, actually, I worked on. At the time, it was called Sentence to Pray. And I played a prison guard. And that's when I first met her. And she really liked my work. And she just kind of like, okay, I want to write you in some other stuff that I'm working on. And marriage rehab was one of the first things that she trusted me with to carry. And it just kind of went from there. Wow. Yeah.
I tell you what, if you all don't get an award for this, I don't know. But I just feel that something is there. So I want to tell both of you, Sharon especially, writing, directing, and producing, because when people don't realize, when you have to do all of that, you have to come up with the money. You have to pay the actors, the actresses. You have to pay your crew, food, everything goes into that. And so I'm going to have Sharon on the show as well to kind of talk about that side of the business, because I'm doing this because one thing, June is Black Art Month. It's about artists. It's all about appreciating artists. And the other is that we have so many young people who want to be a Kim Kardashian, or they want to be Idris Elba, or they want to be whoever, Felicia Rashad, name it, they want to do it. And so I think it's important when you're able to hear different people in the industry like yourself. And right here from Charleston, South Carolina. Come on now. We got 803 Fresh making it. And so we have Robin Hailey as well, and some others that have been in the area. Michael Finkley out of Mullins, South Carolina. We named them. You people are doing it. So that's why I'm so appreciative that you took the opportunity to sit here. Before she goes off to the ACE Awards, honey, you heard it right here.
Yes, thank you. And I want to give a shout out to the town that I was raised in, is Andrews, South Carolina.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes. Thank you. So there are a couple of other things that come to mind when I think about it, because I asked you about your accomplishments. What would you say has been the most challenging for you on this journey?
The most challenging for me is, I think, being able to make the auditions being able to get to the sets when it's time to do so. At the time when I was caring for my husband, it was hard to do anything because, I had to take care of him.
Right.
He was first. So I was able to do certain things around him. But I would say the most challenging thing is wondering when it's going to happen, if it's going to happen. But it's always God's timing.
God's timing.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because it's only God that, that gave you the talent. As I say, he gives each of us these gifts and talents. And it's for us to make sure that we spread the word, that we get it out, that we do what he wants us to do. We can't do what we want to do. It's all in his timing, and it's all about glorifying God. And so, what you're doing is just a testament to what God has put in you. And that people see that and they're like, okay, I want to be like Robin.
And that's the one thing. I want to be able to be a role model. I wouldn't consider that a challenge because that's easy for me to do. I want young girls or older people to say, I like her. They may not love Paula, but they like Paula in a sense to say, this really happens. She's only portraying a role of some things that happens in real life.
Right.
Okay. And I came from a spiritual background.
Yeah.
My mom is an avid worshiper, so that was not a strange thing in playing this role. But the most challenging thing is people never know what goes on behind closed doors until it's exposed.
That's right. That's right.
So I want to one day to have people say, oh, I like her. I love what she's doing, and I would love, and some little girl would say, I want to be like her. That would be grand.
Leaving your legacy. And the other thing that I think about as well is that you're never too old.
You're never too old.
You're never too old. I tell people all the time, y'all don't know how old I am, but I think about it like this because God has given you those talents and gifts, and he wants you, he has a purpose for all of us, and he wants you to use those gifts and talents for his glory. And it may be, as you said, just like with marriage, the marriage rehab with Sharon, that's a way of telling that story because it's going to be healing for somebody else.
Someone else.
Another Paula.
That's right.
Paulette. Paulette. It's good. Paulette. Let's go. So I am just so grateful to you. And I want to tell you, I love you. Congratulations. So, I'm going to ask you what's next.
So we're working on a project now, and this is going to be church-based.
Okay.
We're going to film we're going to film most of it here. A friend of mine pastors a church in Latson, South Carolina. We're going to use this church. So we're going to be there filming this new, it's called Love and Redemption. But I think that's the name for right now. We might be changing it a little bit. Okay. But that's next on the project. And then after that, it's going to be The Unmasking the Truth. The Unmasking Truth. I'm playing a congresswoman.
Oh, come on.
Yes.
Come on. Next year
Sharon's amazing.
Next year to be president.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah. And these are all Sharon's.
Sharon, I
She's
tell
amazing.
you, the GOAT, the GOAT. Go ahead, Sharon.
Yes, she is.
Wow. So when people, my last thing, I ask you what's next. Well, my last question is 3 words that describe Robin Hailey. Robin Fletcher for me, folks. Okay. But Robin Hailey.
I'm a mother first. I adore my sons. I'm a mother-in-law. Amazing daughter-in-law, Rhea. And they've given me 3 beautiful grandchildren. What describes me? I'm very charismatic. I'm driven. And I love people, and I love helping people.
Charismatic, driven, helping people.
Very simple. I'm very simple.
Charismatic, driven, and helping people. Well, you heard the 3 words. You heard it right here. So the next time we see you, hopefully we'll be saying the ACE Award winner,
yes,
But today, it is the ACE Award nominee for Best Supporting Actress, Ms. Robin Hailey.
Thank you. I'm honored.
Thank you so much for being on the show. I love you, Robin. Thank you. Mwah. Listen, you're welcome, folks. You heard it right here, okay? So remember, it's never too late. And she said her three words are charismatic, driven, and helping others. Helping others. Thank you.
Share.
Thank you again, Robin.
And thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
It's always an honor.
My dear friend, it's an honor to have you. I love you.
I love you.
All right, folks, you heard it right here. Listen, next week we've got a great show planned for you as well. Dr. Walter Curry is going to be talking about his new book and going to be bringing the co-authors with him as well. And then, of course, if you want to know anything about Tammy or you want to come on the show, you have an idea, always email us at info@tammymccartry.com. Listen, we always like to have you call us or talk to us. But if you email us, that's great. The other thing is, I never forget to always thank my associate producer, Willie, because he makes it all happen. And I want to thank you, Willie, for all that you do. And of course, my producer, Alicia, she's always been there for me, and I want to thank her. Remember, you can see The Tammy Show on The Tammy Show YouTube channel. That's The Tammy Show YouTube channel. We come on every Thursday at 7 p.m. And so all you have to do is hit that red subscribe button. It will notify you as to when the show is on. So remember, I always say, be a blessing to somebody today and every day. Call somebody up. Make sure that they're okay. All right? And until the next time, take care of yourself, and thank you for joining us. Bye-bye. Thank you.